everybody? Thank you for joining us today on Dating Today. This is going to be a podcast about modern dating issues.
Add it up.
My name is Brock Olsen. I'm your host. I'm joined today by my good friend Carlos. He's going to be the one that's handling a lot of the fun effects, DJing. He's going to be jumping in on some of these topics, helping me keep it on track. And today we have Maraa, who is also a really good friend of mine. She is also one of the moderators to our Singles Connect Facebook group, as is Carlos. So these are the people who you see all the time, either approving, kicking out, helping me keep the group high quality. And I'm super excited to be starting this podcast. So Carlos and I kind of went over some of the stuff with Maraa about this podcast, but Carlos and I for the last 18 months have been just trying to structure a really good show that's going to be super informative, tackling topics that might be a little bit taboo, but that really need to be talked about. We might rub some people the wrong way, ruffle some feathers, but we're here for it. So just want to go ahead and get started talking about the Singles Connect group. That is my private Facebook group. It's pretty much just the people in Chattanooga. We do have plans for some expansion later on, but right now, if you are tuning in live, it's because you are a member right now. Thank you so much for being a member. I believe the group's been going on for about 2.5 years or coming up on 2.5 years. And from the very get-go, I've had these two by my side. Like I said, moderating, doing a great job, putting in some really key input on topics, answering questions, vetting people, making sure that the standards and the quality is at its utmost, and making sure that the environment on the entire platform is welcoming and inviting for everybody, making sure it's a place that we can all come to share dating experiences, good, bad, people who have been divorced, who have a lot of questions, who might feel like they're going through a lot of these struggles alone. They come to join this group. People who would just have some, maybe they just went through a breakup or they're just trying to break some cycles and just want to see if other people are experiencing these things as well. But really what that group does is it created a really, really supportive community of just like-minded individuals where we do get together, we do some fun events. We actually have one here in about 2 weeks to the Udawal Whistle Stop. Probably, I think it's from 4 to 7. Yep. Just some events like that, just some gatherings to make sure that we're able to actually get out from behind the cameras, out from behind the phones, out from behind the computers, and really make those connections a lot stronger. So I want to go ahead and just real quick move this over to Carlos. Carlos, you want to tell them a little bit about yourself and what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So Brock and I have worked together for, I guess, about the last 2 years. I do a lot of his business admin stuff, and then we work through a lot of his marketing on a weekly basis. So building content, everything that comes through the website, that comes from me. And we've had a good time working together over the last couple of years and watching this singles group grow. So we're real excited to see this next phase as we've implemented the subscription model, and now we're starting to put out more valuable content and, like Brock said, make the events a lot more consistent and engaging. So yeah, it's been great to get to know Brock, and then as a result of that, Maraa over the last couple of years. Yep,
Maraa has been fantastic. Maraa was one of the original members of the Singles Connect group. I saw some of the things that she was posting. This was before she was a moderator or anything, and I immediately felt a connection with her. I was like, oh, this one gets it. So I got to meet with her. We talked about some events in person, and I just asked her, I said, you know what, you really seem to have a really good grasp on what dating, especially in Chattanooga, is like and what it's about. Would you like to be one of the moderators? And she jumped on it and has been an integral member ever since. And she's fantastic. She's become one of my really good friends.
Thank you.
And just really happy to have her here. Maraa, I just want to thank you again for joining us on the very first episode where we're going to be talking all sorts of topics, from ghosting to online dating apps, the awkwardness of dating. Some people are trying to break cycles, and how do you do that? And just we're really going to unlock some of the things that a lot of people struggle with on a day-to-day basis. and just see what we're able to accomplish. But real quick, everybody that's watching live, at the end of this show, you guys are going to be able to have the questions that you're currently submitting answered on this show. So we will cut, but we will keep rolling live for you all to get those questions asked. So Carlos, DJ. So he's got all the buttons over here.
Yeah. So I think one of the big things that we saw when we were talking about dating and the pitfalls and all of the hardship that we have within dating, one of the most difficult things is navigating online dating. So I know that's different for me as a guy than it is for you as a female.
Oh, yeah.
Or as a woman, Maraa. How do you navigate online dating and social apps? And then Brock, maybe you can shed a little bit of light on some of the things that you're doing well, some of the things that maybe we can improve on as a whole within culture.
For sure.
Social media isn't going away. Dating apps aren't going away. So how do we do this better? And then we can take it from there.
So which dating apps do you tell people to not use?
Plenty of fish. Tinder.
Fish. Oh, and Tinder, both getting
so,
a bad jab. Gotcha. What's going on those apps? From a woman's perspective, what are you experiencing on those apps?
You know, in all of those apps, and I mean, everyone should know, like, I'm single and I am across many apps. So I've done them all. I've done eHarmony. I have done Match, Bumble, Hinge. I have never done Plenty of Fish, but I've seen it. And I've also done Tinder before it got kind of super crazy, or maybe after it was crazy. But I think
Maybe that's why you stopped.
but you know, in my experience with dating apps and getting on those in the beginning, I was hesitant, which a lot of people are. And so when I first got on, I didn't really know kind of like how that field worked and trying to navigate. And I do find that as we progress in time, you know, year after year, these apps are becoming better at selecting or giving you better options for selection.
Sure.
But on those apps, I did find that people weren't really putting out a lot of effort. You kind of found that like hookup feel from those apps that people were just kind of swiping.
Sure.
And, you know, you go to a restaurant or like a bar and, you know, you look over and a guy's just going, he's not even looking. He's actually having a full conversation with his friends. He's like, and you're like, they just say yes to anyone, don't they?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
that's kind of what I found. And then just, I think a lack of like, there between dating apps and especially those ones, there is a lack of intimacy that happens that you don't get in person that you're looking for. So
yeah, the dating apps definitely get you geared for immediate satisfaction. It almost becomes addicting and fun just swiping. You think you have all these options at your fingertips, and it creates this like society where you don't ever feel like you can even connect with somebody. Like there's no depth there. Like these aren't even real people. And I hate to say it, but we transfer that once we get face to face with somebody. You're still like, it takes a while to realize this is an individual. Even once you've met in person, it still takes a minute to get out of that swiping mentality. That like, even if they say something that I don't quite like on a date, I can literally get up and I have like 5 other options. Yeah. So yeah.
There's a level of warm up that occurs in person that really isn't there on the app. I feel like you're kind of prepared with answers and you're prepared to say something funny or witty or maybe sexual, like depending on what you're going for. And you kind of have an answer for everything. And then when you meet in person, that you find that like that's not always the case.
Well, it's probably been like a copy paste response to something just to get you going. Because I mean, let's be honest. Like, what's the hardest thing about working on dating apps is you connect with somebody, but then now you have the homework of trying to figure out what to say. How do you stand out from everybody else? And you know that's super difficult because the person on the other side is thinking the same thing. Why is this person special? I have all these other options. So now I've got to fight against 5,000 other people to get somebody's attention, and it's just so overwhelming. I think dating apps they're good and they're bad. They're a great tool. And I was actually talking to somebody a couple nights ago. I was like, it's a tool that's been given to people who don't quite know how to use it. It's like giving cavemen an automobile. Like it's super useful, but they just don't know how to actually use it.
Dangerous.
It's dangerous.
Exactly. So if people knew how to use dating apps and understand that it's a connection tool, it's not a relationship building tool. You have to use it to connect and get off as fast as you possibly can to get in front of somebody.
Yeah, well, I found that to be true. And I also, being in the group, like, there's a lot of good content that you've posted that I've learned from too. And a lot of that is learning to create the connection, get the spark going. But the goal is not to start the fire on the app. It's to keep the fire going. It's to get the spark going.
See if there's some heat there.
And see if there is, like, flick your little flint
right.
and then move to the next point, move to the next version. And that's where you start, stoking the fire and getting it going. And I think a lot of people struggle with that part.
The transition from the phone, from the app to the in-person.
It's really difficult.
100%.
So.
Carlos, when you are, or are you, using dating apps, I immediately assumed this man was on a dating app. I don't know why.
So
my apologies.
Full disclosure, I am part of the over 50% of people who say they've tried dating apps.
Okay.
And had some success, had a couple good dates, had a couple like really shitty dates too, like really, really bad, awkward, like catfish situations, people not looking like their pictures. So I've run the whole gamut.
These filters are wild, man, I'll tell you.
I will say this, in the last 6 months since being single again, I have not done the dating app thing.
Okay.
And it's a different approach. It's a different, like...
It's a reset.
Yeah, but it's also, I think what you said earlier, Maraa, it's an effort thing. I feel like most people who are on those dating apps, both energetically and with their effort, are not really ready for a relationship. If you're going into it with that mentality of like, I can make a choice on somebody in 1 second, then you're probably not really ready to be committed and do the things that are needed in a relationship.
You're starting out already with your mind in the disposable mindset.
Absolutely.
So everything and everybody is disposable. You could even see something in someone's picture. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a fish picture, someone holding a fish. Swiping left. It's like, but man, like, what if they've only gone fishing twice in their life and they're actually like really proud of that? Like, now you're making these super.
And what if it was a good picture?
What if it was a good picture? People just get super judgmental.
It's true.
And I tried to go back. I tried to do it.
I'm actually one of
like,
those judgmental people.
Like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't go back.
Couldn't go back to the dating apps?
Well, I mean, maybe not yet. You might. Who knows?
Maybe so.
Right now just in the first 6 months.
So
Wait until I get super frustrated.
So Carlos and I, we hang out a lot. We do a lot of work together, a lot of meetings. Maybe he's doing this, maybe he's not. You're not doing dating apps. Are you using your social media?
In a different way. I think I'm just projecting my life at this point, and if somebody like connects with that, then I think we have something to talk about. And
100%.
If not, I've actually had more good response with going on dates with people who I have no basis for at all, no information about. We just come to the situation blind, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then it's real obvious real quick.
I have a question to that.
Oh gosh, I'm not supposed to be the one getting questioned.
Let's
here.
go.
I
right,
mean, I think we want to know when you say blind.
Yeah.
Because that, to me, I'm like, ooh, no way. What do you mean blind? Is that like, hey, your friend's like, hey, this person's cool, you should meet up, and like you exchange numbers and kind of chit chat first and then you go out? Or is it like they're setting up a dinner, or they're like, hey, we're coming to dinner, come with us, and that person's going to be there? How does that work?
No, that's a good question. And so I think we get so segmented into thinking that it has to be social media driven that I have had a couple good experiences with people being like, hey, this is a friend who we think you would match with, right? So it's not 100% blind, but it's there's context to it.
Okay.
And then, but I don't know anything about that
There's
person.
no
I don't know where they
background.
work. I
There's
don't
no
know how they
stalking.
are.
It's just like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll ask this person.
And I had the opportunity, like I knew their name, like I could have obviously
Right.
gone on social media and done it, and I chose not to.
Okay.
And I think it helped. Like it
Yeah.
really does help.
Okay.
Why do you think that helps? Why do you think being able to background check, the FBI background check, why do you think that foregoing that is better?
Because then you have to be fully invested in the moment. It's not about the work that you did to dig up all the dirt. It's not about the pictures. It's not about any of that. It's just about the moment, and can we connect here?
Right.
There's an
Do
air
we
of
have
mystery.
commonality?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah, seeing all their past vacations, or seeing like when they graduated. It's like, oh, so how's your new job going? I saw you got hired. Like, definitely. Yeah, no, I completely understand for sure. But it's funny that you said that you're putting your life on social media, which we do. That's what it's for. Even if it's a slightly glamorized version of our life, no one ever posts their losses. Nobody does that. But it's still a more genuine form of connecting with people than dating apps, where you are specifically putting yourself out there to be almost sexualized right off the rip. So if you're, in my opinion, if you're able to forego dating apps, or maybe not so much forego them, but just don't invest as heavy as you do into your social media, and just be really genuine, but be posting a lot, give a lot of opportunities for people to interact with you, you'd be so surprised at how many people you can actually connect with and take that into a dating situation. I mean, that's actually how I met my wife, for real. So, I mean, that's just, I'm a huge fan of social media.
His very, very beautiful wife.
Thank you so much. Yeah, she's not bad. She does the heavy lifting in the looks department for sure.
I want to throw something to Maraa, because I touched on it a little bit in a lot of what we talked about just now. Me having a good experience without preconceived notions. So what about the other side, from a woman's perspective? If there is a social media like interaction, or there is the dating app, like talk to us about that.
Like a preconceived notion like that.
Well, talk to me about that process of like looking through the background and looking at the social media. Like, do you judge? How are you judging? Like, what are your criteria? What's that look like?
Hold on, and on that,
Because I have a couple.
What's the main driver for that? Is it
The
to
main driver.
not waste time? Is it for safety?
The main like for background checking?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. What is the main? Is it safety? Is it compatibility? Is it making sure you're not wasting your time? What is the number one driver?
So first of all, for me, and I say this is for me 100%. Okay. I'm not everyone else. So I don't want to speak for everyone else, but I will say I do not background check for safety.
Okay.
And in my opinion, I think like we're all adults. Yeah. We're all consenting to some degree, and when we choose to not be consenting, we make that known. And I mean this not in the bedroom situation. So just so everyone's clear on that. But when it comes to like maybe fact checking or finding out compatibility, I do that pretty quickly. I mean, obviously, when you're on a dating app, you're looking at photos of people, and you're looking, you're kind of getting that physical aspect. You're like, okay, check. Yeah. And then I go directly to their profile. And for me, I'm like, okay, do they put anything about themselves in there? Like, do they like to camp? Do they like to hike? Do they like to, I'm like, are they too sporty for me? Like, I don't know if I can keep up. So, I love it. Like, I'm being honest. Like, I know my fitness level, and I like to have spurts of energy, but I'm not trying to wake up.
Watch a movie at the same time.
Yeah, I'm not trying to like wake up with you and like run at like 7 a.m. Like calm down. Like, you go do your thing.
Nice.
But then I look, what are their other criteria that they've marked off? Like what are their political views, or what are their religious views? Or do they want children? Do they want to get married? Are they looking for a relationship? Or are they looking for something casual? All of those things are things I'm looking at before I even approach the person. But
so it's all about compatibility for time saving.
Definitely for time saving, because then you kind of mentally, again, you're checking boxes as everyone does, and or ticking them. And, when you get to that point where you're looking at whether someone matches, it does come to time, because, time wasted, time is money. These same for guys. They're taking their time, they're working hard, and they're spending a lot of their money on us. It's rare that I
appreciate that acknowledgement though. Like, good stuff, Maraa.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, we get our nails done, we do our makeup,
true,
like whatever.
True, it's both sides.
It's both 100%. Sides. But at the same time, like, I'm not getting my nails done for you. I'm doing it for me. Same with my hair, same with makeup. So I know a lot of women put that in aspect and talk about the money that they spend, but in my opinion, you would have spent that money anyways.
Ooh.
If the guy is going to go out with you, if he wants to go out with you, he has to make an effort to do that. So there's a chance that he may not have done that anyways. And there's a chance he may have, but if that's the case, he either really likes you or his intent is not to date you, it's for other things. And you'll find that out quickly.
That's great. No, and what she was just saying is a guy should ask you out on a date, not to hang out. Hanging out typically means it's something he was already going to do with or without you. Do not accept hangouts unless it's way down the road, and like that's fine. But it's super important that you set the tone, that you will make them set the tone on what their objective is. I hate hangout culture. It's horrible, and it makes so many people waste the best years of their life committing to hangouts that don't turn into anything, because from the very get-go you did not hold them to task. You did not make them state what their objective was. So definitely love what you just said.
And I want to add to that, I've definitely done the hangout dates, and and I think like the important part is you have to know yourself well enough to know what you want before you accept that type of behavior. And even to this day, like I will say, like I'll do a hangout sesh. I'm not going to call that a date.
Right.
And if you think that we're going to call that a date, then we're kindly mistaken. I'll hang out with you. If you want to hang out, you want to do something casual, that's cool. But I'm going to make a point to you, and I'm going to say, so when are we going to go out?
Right, because this isn't it. This is what friends
this doesn't
do.
Count.
Right now, you're stepping into the friend zone.
Exactly. You put yourself there.
Guys, you hear that.
And you have to
hear that. Hanging out gets you into the friend zone. Why would you go there?
And also ladies, not just guys, ladies, hear yourself and know the intent. If you're wanting a person to take you seriously and date you, or have the intent to date with intent, you also have to set that boundary too. So if they want to hang out with you, then you're like, okay, cool, you can hang out with me and my friends in the friend zone.
For sure.
And like, don't give them any more. Know where that line is. Same as the guys. Like if you're asking for a hangout, sorry if you like, we're not sorry if you're in the hangout zone, in the friend zone. Like, don't be mad at us.
Yeah.
So make it clear.
That is huge. That's something I talk with a lot of my women clients, is they get asked to hang out, they go on the hangout, and then they're wondering like that, they'll they'll do a few hangouts, or maybe they're hanging out for a while, and then they're like, well, what are we? It's like, you're hanging out. That's what you're doing. Like you can't get any type of title from hangouts.
You're friends.
You're a friend. Like that's it. Okay. Blake was just saying we're at 20 minutes.
Yeah. We've been flying through it.
I knew
it. But it's good. It's good. We've talked on the topics. Here's what I want to ask. When you realize, okay, the background check, there's too many red flags. Too many boxes weren't ticked.
Exit. Abort mission.
But how, Maraa? So we looked at the facts, and like people are willing to state openly that they ghost all the time, that they just vanish, they just disappear. Talk to me about this. Like, talk to me about this phenomenon.
And maybe not 100%, like the ghosting situation, because I'll be your friendly spook. I'm a ghoster too.
We've all done it. It's okay. We have all done it.
Yeah, and I don't care. Like, I know people like, oh, they deserve an answer, and I think at some point we had talked about like closure, and I'm like, no one deserves closure. I don't owe that to you. No. And I say that in like the nicest way possible, but like what you don't know is like what's happening in my life. And I'll give a great example to this. And recently, in the last few months, previously I was dating someone. Woohoo!
Back on the market.
I'm back on the market though. Yeah. So, but at the time that we were dating, we moved things from I met 2 guys. Actually, I met 3 guys, all in the same time frame. One of them didn't really meet the tick marks. We kind of chit-chatted on Bumble, and I was like, we did one date, and I ghosted him.
Nice. And
I was like, all right, he's done. He doesn't. It did not connect. I was like, he doesn't need anything else from me. Okay. Moved on. the other two people I started hanging out with, we were going on dates. It was not casual, not hangouts. Like we were going to dinners and we were eating with like friends and stuff. And so the connection with one versus the other started to become a little bit hotter, and the other one was cooling down a little. And so I naturally, as one would, go towards the warmer one. But at the same time, let me just say, both these guys had great qualities. One had really, really good qualities, and one I later found out didn't have the best qualities. And those things come out in dating. You find that out later. So,
it happens.
But when I was doing that, I kind of let this guy, the chat died down. It was, hey, what's up? Cool, chit chat, maybe a couple times a week. And then it was like one time a week. And then it was just like never, like that. It was like, it just went away. And like, we never said anything on it. And then this guy and I dated for a few months, and we split apart. And I'm going to be, I'm such like your example.
Here we go.
I'm like, hey, how's it going?
You're the zombie.
I'm like,
I
came back.
She came back. I
was like, hi,
okay.
hey. But, I was like, hey, what's up? How's it going? I know we kind of lost touch. I'm really sorry about what happened. And I do feel like I would love to connect with you again if you have time, kind of explain what happened. And he was like, yeah, that's cool. Sure. We went out for drinks. It was good. We caught up, and I had a chance to apologize. Nice. And I did that face to face. I didn't do that through text.
Nice. And we don't always get a chance to apologize
for
ghosting somebody. I've ghosted one person once. I did it hard as hell because I was angry. I was super mad. I didn't want to talk to the person. But I know that a lot of people, especially women, will ghost because not only do they not want to confront it, but they know that by confronting it, they are likely antagonized. They could be called so many bad things. Like it's not going to go well. Even if you just said, hey, this is my last text, bye. Even that, like it's just usually better for women to just disengage completely. It's better for mental health. And the last thing that you said was, yes, we've talked about closure. Closure isn't something that you get from somebody else. Closure is something that you give to yourself. It's the permission you give to yourself to move on. You answer the questions that you're yearning for. You answer those yourself. You do not have to wait for somebody else to give that to you. So ultimately, with some of the things that you've just said, some of the things we're talking about, who is to blame for all of the dating problems that we're experiencing? Is it mostly men? Is it mostly women? What are we thinking?
I think we're all to blame. I think we all have traumas and issues, whether it be financial, whether it be work life or home life or, failed marriages or failed relationships, whatever the case may be, we're all to blame. And I think that it's not that we're trying to blame ourselves and in a way that is hurtful to ourselves. It's that we're trying to heal ourselves at the same time. And it's so incredibly hard because while you kind of are looking for companionship and that person to take on that seat and ride that out with you, that's not their goal.
For sure.
And that may not be your goal. And
sometimes dating is a healing tool. And sometimes if you get ghosted, it's because, I hate to say this, you were used as that healing tool, not like in a bad way, but like, hey, I needed to talk to somebody. I needed to just express myself. I'm so glad you showed me that there's opportunities after this bad relationship. Like you're helping me move on and heal myself. Sometimes you are somebody's healing tool. It's a hard fact, but it's very much a fact.
Yeah. Take it as that.
Carlos, did you have anything to add before we jump to the Singles Connect questions?
No, I think you did a good job summing that up, Maraa. I think we're all to blame, and I think the only way that dating improves for men and women is open, honest approach with both where we are in our lives, and then our intent. If you're not on the same page about where you are in your life and where you're going,
100%.
No matter what that is, it's not going to align and it's not going to work. So that takes effort, that takes honesty.
It does.
And I think really that's the only way we get better as a group.
100%. 100%. Well, I just want to thank both of you. Maraa, thank you so much for joining us on Dating Today. You are fantastic. I loved your insights. Super honest, super blunt, very, very, very impactful. I think a lot of people are going to see a lot of value in the insights that you brought. Right now, we're going to sign off. I want to thank everybody who watched this podcast. Like I've mentioned, we have people that are watching live, part of the Chattanooga Singles Connect. If you want to join that, go to brockolsen.com/connect. You can sign up. It's a simple 3-step process. It's a $5 join fee, and then you can either pay $1 a month or $10 for the whole year. We're going to go ahead and field some questions from the Singles Connect group. So everybody that is watching live, we will be doing live answerings of your questions at the end of the episodes. Definitely tune in. We'll probably be doing these around 6:30, like I said, every couple of weeks, maybe at the worst every month. But we do have some really, really cool topics. Thank you guys so much for joining and watching live, and we'll see you guys next time.
Add it up.